Hi, my name is Ashley and I'm a mom of one 21-month-old toddler, and I'm currently 27 weeks pregnant with baby girl number 2. I know a lot of you parents growing up are probably used to the idea of having a toy box where you kept all of your toys. Maybe that box was a separate entity somewhere in your room or in your playroom if you had a playroom. Maybe it was your closet. Maybe it was just the space under your bed. But in the world of Montessori, a toy box in the traditional sense doesn't exist. Instead, all of your child's toys and activities are laid out in an aesthetically pleasing way on a shelf such as the one behind me. The issue then becomes there's only so much space. So what do you do with the activities and toys that are on the shelf? How do you make sure there's variety? So from one busy parent to another, today I'm going to share with you my tips for using shelf rotation in your Montessori home. When I first began implementing Montessori philosophies with my daughter, the idea of shelf rotation was something that really intimidated me. I wasn't sure what to put on the shelf, how to organize it, or how often to change things out. But honestly, I'm here to share with you today, it's not that difficult. The idea is that you don't want to have too many toys out for your child at any one given time. So on a shelf unit like the one behind me, there's only 8 cubes. So that right there automatically limits me as to how many things I can have out for my daughter at any given time. You can also buy and utilize open shelving, a lot like you would see in a Montessori school, and just make sure that your activities and toys are spaced out. But whatever type of shelf system you decide to put in place, just keep in mind that it should be aesthetically pleasing, not only to you, but to your child. Some of you might be wondering, does my toddler really care what it looks like? And the answer to that is yes. Toddlers especially are in the sensitive period for order. They crave that sense of organization. They need that. So if you can arrange a few thoughtfully and carefully selected items for them on their shelves, it actually makes it easier for them to go find the activities that they're interested in. And believe it or not, it creates more engagement in the long run. So what kinds of things are you putting on your shelf? It's going to depend on your child, not only their age, but also their interests. If you've never embarked upon the journey of putting out Montessori-friendly toys and activities for your child on the shelf before, then this might require a little bit of research, but to help get you jump started, I'll be sure to put a couple of links down below to some videos that I personally have found helpful along the way. I was constantly wondering things like, how do I know what my child's interested in? Do I change things out every week? Should it be every day, every month? I constantly had these types of questions floating through my brain. It was enough to drive me crazy. And here's a beautifully simple answer for you. Follow your child. Your job as a Montessori parent is to observe. Watch your child while they play. See what they're interested in. What are they drawn to? When you read books together, what kinds of things catch their attention? Those are the kinds of things that you want to put on the shelf for your child. It might be an experiment at first. You might have no idea if your child is actually interested in or ready for the type of activity or toy you've selected, but that's okay. All you have to do is watch your child, see how they interact with the things that you've provided, how you've set up the environment for them. Now, as far as the rotation goes, if you notice that your child is not drawn to a specific toy or activity, it could be because it's not challenging enough for them, or maybe it's too challenging for them. That would be something that you want to take off the shelf, and you'd simply replace it with something else. So basically, you're just kind of watching your child. As you notice over the course of a couple of days, or maybe a week, maybe several weeks or months even, if there are things on the shelf that your child is not engaging with, then you want to remove them from the shelf and put different activities and toys out. Ideally, you'd have a place somewhere else in your house where you're kind of storing all of these things, not for the child to have access to, but for you to have access to, so that you can rotate from them every so often. So there is no hard and fast rule. You don't have to rotate your shelves every single week or every 2 weeks or every 3 days or even every day. Now, don't get me wrong, there are parents out there who are incredibly dedicated, and I give them major kudos, and they do change out activities for their child almost every single day. But if you're a busy parent, don't stress yourself out over it. As long as you're watching your child and you're responding to their needs by changing their environment and preparing it thoughtfully for them, then your child will benefit from it. If you find that you are needing some type of a schedule just to keep yourself in check, then by all means, it is fine. But do keep in mind that it doesn't mean you have to clear out the entire shelf and replace all of the things that are on there. You might just only change out 1 or 2 or maybe 3 things per week. And your child will notice right away when you've changed something on their shelf. It's almost like you've given them something brand new to play with, especially if it's something that's been in storage for a while. You would also apply the same principles to a bookcase. Hopefully your bookcase or wherever you're displaying your child's child's books is forward facing. Some people actually choose to just lay out 5 or 6 books on a single shelf on the wall, but you're also going to be rotating books based on your child's interests. Just to give you guys a point of reference, I have several books on the bookcase behind me that my daughter absolutely loves, and I do not take them off the shelf. They are her perennial favorites and I leave them out. But every single week we take a trip to the library and we change out roughly 3/4 of the books that are on there. We change them out with books that she has selected herself at the library. Sometimes there's a few in there that I've selected for her that I think she would like, but for the most part, they're her choices. And as for the shelves behind me, again, there are several toys and activities that I leave out for much longer periods of time because I notice that she's drawn to them every single day. So why would I take them away? But then there are things that I change regularly. For example, one of her cubbies has a puzzle in it. We had a great Melissa and Doug transportation vehicle puzzle for a few weeks, and I've noticed over the last week or so that she stopped playing with it. So I went into my storage location where I keep all of her other puzzles and I pulled out a new one and I just replaced it this morning. It's actually a Christmas puzzle. I figured she might like it because Christmas is just around the corner. So as soon as I changed out that puzzle this morning, my daughter came down, she went right to the puzzle cube and pulled it out and immediately started playing with it because it's a puzzle that she hasn't seen for quite some time. So not only is this a great way to keep your child engaged, but it's also saving you a little bit of money as well because you don't have to fall into this trap of constantly buying new things for your child to play with to keep them engaged. That's not to say you don't want to add to your collection over time and as your child gets older and their abilities grow, but in the short term, it's definitely beneficial for your wallet as well. If you have any questions about shelf rotation, please leave me a comment down below. I'd love to chat with you guys about it. And if you have any tips for how you've been implementing shelf rotation in your Montessori home with your child, then I'd love to hear about it, and I'm sure other people would too. Please leave a comment down below and share it with us. If you like this video and you want to see more tips about implementing Montessori in your home, then please be sure to subscribe to my channel and check out the link to the playlist down below that I have for you. This video is part of a brand new series on my channel called Montessori at Home, focused on providing tips for parents just like you and me to get started with using Montessori. And be sure to stay tuned for next week's video where we talk about art supplies for toddlers. Thanks for watching.